Good evening and welcome to the April 15th, 2019 meeting of the Gaston County Board of Education. I am Brent Moore, Crowers Mountain Township and Chairman of the Board, and to my left is Mr. Kevin Collier, Vice Chairman of the Riverbend, of the Riverbend Township. And at this time, I would like to ask our other board members to introduce themselves.
Gaston Township.
Harry Guthrie, Cherville Township.
Steve Hall, Dallas Township.
Jeff Ramsey, at-large member.
Good. Dot Cherry, at-large member.
Dot Guthrie Lake.
On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. We have a full agenda. I know everyone is excited about spring break. It will begin at the end of this week. First, we have some business to attend to. Our first order of business is to have our prayer and pledge of allegiance. And I would like to ask Dr. Booker to lead the invocation of pledge.
Thank you. Chairman, members of the board, please join me. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for making life possible. Please clear our minds so that we can hear from you and follow your guidance. Help us to recognize your good works and abundant blessings that are all around us. Be with us as we meet this evening. We ask that you continue to lead and guide our thoughts, actions, and service for the students of Gaston County Schools. We ask all this in thy holy, precious name. Amen. Amen. Please join me for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next order of business is to adopt the agenda. You have a proposed agenda before you. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda? Ms. Cherry, do I have a second? Mr. Hall, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Our next order of business is to hear the good news happening in our schools. Superintendent Booker, give us some good news.
We have a lot of good news for you tonight, Mr. Chair. So I will ask for you all to pay close attention because we've got some great awards. You all will remember earlier in the year we recognized an Ivy League student. We bragged about how great it was. Well, tonight we get to do that a second time. So I'd like to ask Zach Farger to come forward, please. Zach will be enrolling this fall in Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, and the best part is on a full academic scholarship. And Zach, I've got all kinds of things in here to talk about the great things that you have done and contributed to Gaston County Schools. I just want to thank you for your scholarship, but also the leadership you've provided to our athletic program at Ashbrook. But if I say much more, Miss Cherry's going to get upset because she's been excited all day to talk about you. So I'm going to let Miss Cherry carry that.
Well, about a month ago, I started getting these texts and these calls. You got to have Zach here. You got to have Zach here. I said, what did Zach do? and when I start telling you, or let me rephrase that. What else has Zach done? And then I heard that he got a full ride to Brown, and I was just thrilled. So somebody sent me his resume, and I mean sent me his resume. So I took some highlights out of it and just a few things to know. First of all, this guy works. He works a full-time job. He has been a 4-team athlete since his freshman year. He was chief marshal last year. He's probably going to be valedictorian, even though there's somebody in this room that could debate that. If not, he's going to be salutatorian. He has been a commissioner school member. He was at Summer Ventures, which he had to explain that to me because I never went, which is a North Carolina math and science program. He was a Boys State member. He just does it all. And then the icing on the cake was getting a full ride to Brown. So we are so proud of him. I know his Ashbrook family's proud of him, but we as Gaston County Schools are extremely proud of him. So on behalf of our chairman, Brent Moore, and our superintendent, Dr. Booker, we have this certificate of recognition, and we wish you so, so much success. And who else is here? Your mom and dad, brother, Ashbrook people. You tell me. I always tend to miss somebody. Mr. Dean.
Yeah,
Mom, I know you're proud.
thank you.
Yes, yes, we have to balance the green. The husky has to balance the green.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
To continue on with the great academic achievements of our district, that's one of the great things about this time of the year. We start seeing all the fruits that started in kindergarten for many of our children and now as seniors. Many districts would love to have one child receive the prestigious Park Scholar Award. If you remember, that's from NC State, where it's $110,000 value with the academic research and extracurricular honors that the student receives. Tonight, I would like to invite Christiana Daniel and Daniel Friday to both come forward. So not one, but two Park Scholars. Christiana is president of the Hostler Club and the Bible Club. She's also captain of the girls' varsity soccer and tennis teams. She wants to study pre-medicine and hopes to become an emergency room doctor. Daniel is president of the Beta Club and vice president of the Technology Student Association. He started his own engineering education program at the Boys and Girls Club and plans to pursue a career in civil engineering. I've had the pleasure of getting to know both of these students, and they have done great things in our community and will continue to be great citizens. So thank you, and Mr. Ramsey.
Well, congratulations, that is huge. And I'll tell you a little story. I paid that $110,000. So I know your parents are probably a lot more excited than you guys because they got a zero balance. So my last check just went for May 11th. So go Pat. Christiana, we're proud of you. This is an outstanding achievement, NC State University Park Scholar, signed by her chair, Mr. Moore, and Mr. Booker, Dr. Booker.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Daniel, same thing, outstanding achievement, NC State University Park Scholars. Mr. Moore signed chair and Mr. Booker's chair. And Dr. Booker is exactly right. To have two from one school and two from the county, this is huge. And we're so proud of you representing Gaston County. And don't forget us. So go back. So the parents, come on up.
Thank you.
Now,
Congratulations. Yeah, big smile, Dad.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. Hey, congratulations. Mark, thank you. Thank you.
There is a scholarship in our community that was established to honor Wayne Shovelin, and it is presented through the Caramont Health Foundation, and it is a $20,000 a year academic award. And we have been very fortunate that a number of our students have received this, and tonight we're to recognize Kyra because she is this year's recipient. That would take a round of applause. So the scholarship will provide for their 4 years, $20,000 a year, and it's related to her healthcare studies. She is an excellent student at our Gaston Early College, and I just applaud what she has done. I wanted to offer Ms. Guthrie an opportunity to talk.
Well, my mother thought that Mr. Shovelin hung the moon. And in her honor tonight, there is a sliver of moon out there. It's almost full. So it's there for a special reason, to honor you. And we want to say congratulations to you. This certificate is presented to you for the Wayne Shovelin Scholarship. So congratulations and enjoy your 4 years.
Her family wants to join her, or Josh?
Thank you. Mr. Booker, she plans to attend Western Carolina University this fall.
Awesome. Western Carolina. Good. Mr. Usher stayed at the podium because this is one he'll really have a tough time containing his enthusiasm. We're going to recognize one of our coaches, Miss Carrie Dalton from Cherryville High School. She would come forward, please. She is the girls basketball coach at Cherryville High School and was named the Southern Piedmont Conference Coach of the Year for this year. Ms. Dalton and I had the unique opportunity of meeting earlier this year to discuss some student-athlete challenges, and I was commended her for the role model and her integrity in handling and really leading kids. It's not about wins and losses, and to have her recognized like this is quite a testament to what she does and the role model that she serves in our school, because the role she plays inside the school building is important as when she plays on the basketball court. So, Mr. Usher.
Yes, sir. Y'all just thought you were coming to a Board of Education meeting. It's the T.A. Usry Show. My guest tonight, Miss Carrie Dalton, the head basketball coach for the Cherryville Ironman ladies, who not only is Coach of the Year, but she's probably Mom of the Year, Wife of the Year, just all around general person of the year. A super, super person. And I don't believe you had a single technical call on you this season. Don't tell if I did. No, she did a wonderful example for young ladies and young men to follow. So congratulations, Coach. We love you. So stick around for a long time.
Mr. Doran, you want to join her?
Thank you.
Members of the board, you have a full boardroom tonight because there is just a lot of great things being recognized in our district. Next, we're going to talk about Scholastic Art and Writing winners. We're going to begin with the students who won in the Golden Key category. So I'd like to ask Ethan Vallada to come forward, Hannah Permenter, Olivia Hedrick, Elisa Eckerd, Asia Spinks, and Aaron Watson. All of these folks were recipients of the Gold Key category. Also, Aaron Watson received both, and Asia received silver medals in addition to their Gold Key works. Asia will have her artwork displayed on a local billboard. This is quite an accomplishment because they're competing against the entire Charlotte region when they receive these awards.
It's great to see such a large crowd up here, and we're all thrilled for all of you. We're very excited about your accomplishments, and so congratulations to each one of you. It's hard work, and we really appreciate everything that you do to represent us every day, so congratulations to all of you.
And who knows, we may be looking at the next renowned illustrator right from Gaston here, and we are very proud.
These certificates of recognition are presented to the Gold Key winners for Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. Ethan, congratulations. Anna, there you are. Congratulations. And Alyssa, congratulations to you. Olivia, congratulations. Aaron.
Now, before we invite everybody forward, any of the parents who are outside, couldn't get a seat, want to come in and get a good picture of this group together, if I can ask each of the board members to stand on the end and you squeeze the kids tighter. Todd, help with a little organization here so the parents can get a good picture.
Last week we celebrated National Library Week, and of course we celebrate authors and illustrators. So we're very proud of these young people because they write as well as illustrate, and I think that's wonderful.
Picture, and then we've got a second. We'll get that as well.
You can scoot down just a bit, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, don't anybody go anywhere. We've got silver winners to recognize
Right on
now.
down. All right, Miss Guthrie, you come in next to Aaron.
Thank you.
All right. All right, thank you. Congratulations.
So members of the board, that was the Golden Key winners, but we have a number of other winners from the Silver Key category. Megan Addington, Ava Claire Weiss, Addie McCraw, Vanya Norman, Jordan Truss, and Maddie Allround. If you all could come forward. And as they're walking forward, Jordan received an honorable mention, and Maddie also received honorable mention in addition to their Silver Key awards.
Well, congratulations to each of you. We're so proud to present certificates of recognition to Silver Key winners and to two folks who were Silver Key and honorable mention, Jordan Truss and Maddie Alden. So congratulations to all of you.
And did you write or draw? Which one? Whoa. Wonderful.
Painted.
Great.
Sculpture.
Awesome.
Sculpture.
Visual literacy.
And any parents who would like to come forward to get a picture can start making their way up.
Addie McCraw. Good to see you, Addie. I had the pleasure of coaching Addie in rec league soccer. So congratulations. Vanya Norman, congratulations to you. Well done. Jordan, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And Maddie, congratulations to you. Think we'll have an afternoon.
Let's slide down. We'll just move around this time. There we go.
Hold, y'all, hold. You got parents trying to get a picture here.
Y'all shake everybody's hands right there. They all want to see. So congratulations.
Justin, get Justin, okay? Congratulations. Great job, man. This is lady power.
See, now we know.
Now, we still have some more art awards to recognize. Letting the room clear. In addition to all the awards you just saw, we have our own art contest for Gaston County Schools. And it was a partnership with the Gaston County Museum, and I know that earlier I saw Ms. Hovis here. She helps coordinate and do a lot of work for us on that program. And so tonight we wanted to recognize the winners, beginning with the overall high school winner, Jordan Truss from Stuart W. Kramer High School. Kai Shipley is the overall winner from John Chavis Middle School. And Nancy Cruz Diaz was the Director's Choice Award winner from Hunter Huss High School. So while there's 3 students in front of you, recognize that 100 middle and high school students received recognition for various forms of art. Just as you heard the earlier students talking about, we have many different forms of art that are taught in our schools, and these students, if you haven't taken the opportunity to go to the museum, the artwork will be on display through May 18th. It is phenomenal, the work that is done in our schools, and our great art teachers, and the collaboration between our art teachers and English teachers is just very powerful. And so these 3 just represent a lot of great work that goes on, and we just wanted to recognize them and acknowledge all the work. And Miss Cherry was there for the awards ceremony, and so I'll let you.
Oh, what? I missed that. I was downstairs while they were all eating. So I grabbed Jordan, I said, come show me what you did. And she's looking at me like, who are you? So she went and showed me her artwork, and I didn't realize that she had won, but then I started looking at everything else. It was amazing. It was elementary, middle, and high school. And the elementary was, it blew me away. And as Mr. Booker, Dr. Booker, excuse me, said, there was well over 100 different pieces, from pictures to sculpture to what else? What else was there? Paintings, everything. And the whole upstairs of the courthouse was full. And there were hundreds of people there. So they rocked it. They rocked it. I'm sorry I missed it. I had just gotten there and y'all ended. Y'all did that on purpose, but that's okay. So if you haven't gone, you really need to go see. The talent in this county is absolutely amazing. So the arts, as he always says, they're very alive and well, and we're going to make sure that they stay alive and well. So on behalf of our chairman, Mr. Moore, and our superintendent, Dr. Booker, we'd like to present you with a certificate of recognition because we're extremely proud of y'all and for the things that you do. So Jordan, here's yours. Kai, here's yours. And Nancy, here's yours. So I know y'all's principals are here. If y'all would come up, and any parents or anybody that y'all have here? No. Your mom, Kai's mom, and principals. Where's Miss Devine? Where'd she go? She left. She left. She left. She was there. So I was standing behind you. Come on, Mom. Do what? No, I don't want a picture.
You want a picture? All right. I'll just slip it that way, Mr. Smith. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm standing.
There we go. Thank you. Do you want to show the board your artwork? You brought your artwork, didn't you?
No.
Kai?
No, it's in the museum.
Oh, okay. I thought you brought something with him. Okay.
I have a picture on my phone.
Good job. Good job.
Don't you. Mr. Chair, members of the board, I think we're remiss if we don't really stop and say thank you to our teachers and what they do to make an event like this possible. It's really impressive what these children produce, but they don't do that without great people working with them and giving them the resources to do that. So that is all the good news for now, sir.
All right, thank you, Superintendent Booker. The next item on our agenda allows an opportunity for public expression. Tonight, we have individuals who have signed up to be heard. This is a time where the board will hear comments from members of the public on matters of public concern related to the school system. Before we begin, let me outline our procedures. Before we hear public expression, let me outline our procedure. Citizens wishing to make a comment who have completed a request to speak form will be recognized by the chair, which is me, and then requested to step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the record. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The members of the board do not comment on public expression during public expression. Public expression does not allow for comments on confidential or personnel matters. The chair shall rule on all points of order during public expression. First one we have signed up is Darcy Bauer.
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I appreciate it. Okay, my name is Darcy Bauer. I live at 2540 Glencastle Way in Gastonia. Okay, I'm a licensed teacher educated in early childhood, elementary, and special education with 20-plus experience in all these areas. I've seen and heard of many pre-K programs closing down in Gaston County schools. This is very disturbing for what I know is important in a child's life. I'm discussing a couple of points here. The lack of ECE and developmentally appropriate programs in early childhood and in kindergarten. I've talked and spoken to many kindergarten teachers here in Gaston County. They all agree so far the curriculum is unorganized, does not follow a learning continuum, isn't population friendly, doesn't allow time to master a skill, which I've witnessed all of these things, no hands-on science, and the lessons for forming letters and handwriting are non-existent. Now, a majority of the brain development happens from birth to 5 years of age. Studies show this. Everyone educated in early childhood knows this as the truth. It's the duty of caregivers, our community and society to give a child developmentally appropriate beginning to reach their full potential. What I'm seeing is money taken from ECE given to the older grades and school of choice programs. Many of the children I currently work with will not make it to these programs. Due to the lack of early intervention, I am witnessing children being put on an IEP for developmental delays in paying attention, fine motor, language development, and other areas. This can mostly be avoided by having every student in a pre-K program assessed by an ECE team before they start. Putting a child on an IEP at 5 to 6 years old, I feel, is criminal, because my background says by 3 years old, they can be developmentally assessed and get an IEP, and by kindergarten, they should not be off the IEP for many of these children. And it makes a label that's unnecessary. When the school year began, the children were tested. Most of them did not know any letters, letter sounds, could not write their names, did not know letters of their name, did not know the difference between letters and numbers, and major delays in fine motor skills. This is largely due to the absence of pre-K and appropriate kindergarten programs in their lives. Many parents are not educated in the importance of play and hands-on learning. A developmentally appropriate pre-K and kindergarten program was solved many of these issues so these children become great citizens. This current curriculum in kindergarten runs over the letters quickly, has children copying words and sentences. This is not meaningful teaching or learning. Teaching sight words before they know letters and sounds is not developmentally appropriate. Lecturing and doing small groups without appropriate lessons will cause more problems. The failing children do know they are failing. I witness this frustration daily. Not all children are winners. We need to lose once in a while to learn how to be a winner, but I'm witnessing what I consider is very wrong. I work on one-to-one and small groups trying to help them get their skills caught up. This is partly due to needing an IEP done, partly losing so much precious time since September, and most important, inappropriate curriculum and lack of materials. Teachers are scared. They're scared to move away. Right? Oh, time already? Okay. Well, then I will leave this with the board to continue reading. Okay? Thank you for your opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. The next individual we have signed up is Donna Hayes. Sorry.
Donna Hayes, 1325 Shady Bark Drive, Gastonia, North Carolina. Good evening, Dr. Booker, Chairman Moore, and distinguished school board members. My name is Donna Hayes, President of the Gaston County Unit of NCAE, and I come to you tonight to ask for support when educators from across the state embark on Raleigh for our Day of Action, May the 1st, 2019. We will rally for students, schools, and communities, and the top 5 issues for this rally will be hiring enough social workers, counselors, nurses, psychologists, and librarians to meet the national average. Our students now have needs that require extra support. We are limited to few nurses. Social workers are stretched to meet the growing needs of our students and their families. Counselors have to work with students as they deal with problems that keep them from being successful in the classroom. Psychologists are needed to assist with the testing of students who may have special needs. And our librarians are essential in supporting literacy in our county. Number 2 is expanding Medicaid to cover the 500,000 North Carolinians who do not have access to health care. However, we see the urgent need to help our students stay healthy so that they are able to focus on their learning. Number 3 is providing a $15 minimum wage for all education support professionals, non-certified, 5% raise for educators, and a 5% COLA for retirees. Our classified employees are not earning enough to support their families and themselves. They are having to hold 2 or sometimes 3 jobs in order to pay their bills. Increasing wages for those educators will help us keep qualified educators in North Carolina rather than them go down to South Carolina where they can get better pay. Retirees have not had a COLA raise in years, even though the cost of living has continued to rise. Number 4 is reinstating master's and advanced degree pay. Let's keep qualified professionals in North Carolina who can best help our children grow. Paying educators for master's degree and advanced degrees will ensure that our teachers are highly qualified. And the 5th one is reinstating the retirement benefits for educators joining the profession after 2021. If we don't change the law, our educators will start working in January 2021 and they will not have health insurance when they retire. Health insurance provides a strong incentive to make career educators out of our beginning teachers. We encourage you and we ask you to support us when we rally on May the 1st, 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Thank you for your comments and continued concern for Gaston County Schools. Although the board does not typically respond during the period of public comment, we do want to hear from the public and direct staff to work on those issues that need to be addressed. Thank you for your comments. The next item on the agenda is the approval and correction of the minutes from our past meeting. Tonight we're asking for approval for the minutes from our March 13th joint meeting with the Board of Education and Board of Commissioners, and also our March 18th meeting, a regular board meeting. I need a motion to approve those minutes as presented. Mr. Ramsey. Second, Mr. Hall. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving those minutes? All right, it's unanimous. The next item on our agenda is our classroom moments. Our teachers and students do amazing things each day in our schools. This agenda item gives us the opportunity to share some of what is going on with our members of this board and those watching this meeting. Superintendent, what do you have for us at this time?
I'd like to ask Ms. Starnes to come forward and introduce a group from York Chester.
Thanks so much, Chair Board, members of the board, Superintendent Booker. On February the 28th, Dr. Amy Holbrook, our principal at York Chester Middle School, invited me to the school to an event where I would be introduced to James Nipper, and I would be introduced to the Jason Project. And I've asked Dr. Holbrook to bring the program to you this evening and the members of her team. Dr. Holbrook.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and get this presentation up. All right. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today about the Jason's Project Grandfather Challenge. Mr. and Mrs. Nipper were unable to attend tonight, and so they asked that I read this letter. You all have a copy of the letter in your packet. You also have some other materials there that we'll talk about later. Dear Gaston County School Board members, after losing our beloved son, Jason Nipper, in 2014, resulting from complications of a mental disease and substance abuse, we started a unique hiking program at Grandfather Mountain in Linville, North Carolina, for at-risk kids suffering from mental and additional disorders and other personal struggles. Because the Grandfather Mountain hiking trails are considered to be among the most rigorous wilderness hiking trails in the Southeast, we have named this program the Grandfather Challenge. This program features 4 major hikes which are undertaken in a 4-week series, with each successful hike becoming more difficult and challenging. Each hike is led by 2 or more qualified, experienced adult hikers, and each child is mentored, encouraged, and supported by caring adult leaders who strive to instill self-confidence, trust, respect, and a strong commitment to complete a rigorous, challenging physical goal. The foundation provides a journal, a map, hiking boots, socks, backpacks, and raincoats for each student hiker, and I have examples of them over here on the side. At the end of the 4-hike series, the students' accomplishments are recognized at a special awards dinner in their honor. Our underlying goal is that through adventure and wilderness mentoring, all students can be inspired to believe that through perseverance and commitment to purpose, they can rise above their own challenges in life. The letter continues to highlight the 3-year commitment York Chester Middle School has made to this program. James and Cheryl Nipper also express their genuine and sincere appreciation of the support of Gaston County School Board for allowing this opportunity to be extended to our students in the school system. In your packet, they've included a program brochure as well as an article published in the Carolina Life magazine about how their program got off the ground in 2016. Their personal information is also included in your packet, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact them personally. York Chester and I are truly committed to this program. I'm amazed at how a group of students who come from various backgrounds can work together as a unit, develop as leaders, and form a special bond of trust and respect among each other throughout the program. The Jason's Project program provides our students with the opportunity to overcome individual and group challenges, learn new skills, and build a sense of accomplishment as they navigate through the 4 different hikes. This program has added to the positive cultural shift at York Chester Middle School. I've also got Mr. Gaston as one of our chaperones. I wanted to introduce him. But I have asked Cervantes Gainza and Kiara Potts from our first cohort to speak about their experiences in the Jason's Project Grandfather Challenge. These 2 students have demonstrated tremendous growth throughout the past 3 years.
I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to tell you about Jason's Project. Well, Jason's Project have helped me in many ways. Jason's Project have helped me realize no matter how many obstacles you have going through, don't give up. Jason's Project have helped me with my anger and not giving up when there are bad and hard times. Jason's Project have also helped me with trying to be a bigger person and walk away from certain situations. That's all I have to say.
My name is Kara Potts from York Chester Middle School. This is my experience I got from the Jason Project. It brought me closer to people I didn't know and to some of my friends. Also taught me to never give up on people I love and care about. Finally, I learned to not leave no trace.
So, go ahead. As you can see through the pictures that have been scrolling, this is just an outstanding experience for our kids. For myself included, this is the 2nd cohort I've worked with, and this cohort will be hiking over the crescent of Grandfather Mountain Wednesday. And so it's definitely an outstanding experience, not only for the kids, but just for the whole group. So I'm very proud of them.
You good?
Yep.
I want to point out to the board that Dr. Holbrook took a little creative liberty in reading the letter. Dr. Amy Holbrook has been one of our most vital and energetic supporters of our program. Not only has she served as a chaperone for many of the hikes, but she drives the school bus for all the 4-week services, which is a total of over 600 miles. We salute Dr. Holbrook and express our genuine and sincere appreciation for her support and encouragement of this activity for her students.
Thank you guys for presenting, and we appreciate all that you do.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yes. Ms. Guthrie?
Good job. So was it cold and windy up there? It's awesome. Yeah. Is that Chris swinging when you walk across it? Oh, wow. That scared me. Would be.
Hey, if you guys will hold on for just a second, we got some of our.
I do want to, first of all, congratulate you, Mrs. Holbrook, Dr. Holbrook, for your leadership. I think it's just phenomenal. And when I attend a meeting, and this is the second time that Yorkchester, you've just blown me away with working together and the communication that you share among yourselves. Young man, I heard you say that you were participated in an individual group challenge and you developed positive culture. That's awesome. You're saying that you noticed the change and you really like the change. You work toward the change, and I like that. Young lady, I heard you say that this opportunity actually brought me closer to people I didn't know. And to me, that's wonderful because you're growing a cultural appreciation together. And I think when you do that and you work together within your classrooms, you're going to go outside your classrooms, outside the box, and work together and understand each other. And that makes for a better Gaston County. So I want to commend you for a job well done and wish you much success. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thank you guys again for coming out tonight. Our next item on the agenda is the Operations Committee report, and this is an information item, and Mr. Hall is going to bring us that report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on Monday, April 1st, 2019 at 4 here in the boardroom. It was Kevin Collier, Jeff Ramsey, myself, and Lee Dedman. The following staff members were present at our meeting: Gary Hoskins, Morgan Hushard, Joy Clinton, Rebecca Powers, Chip Irby, Bill Farnsworth, Angela Calamia, I hope I said that right, Glenn Bratton, and Sierra Ray. Our agenda discussion included the following items. Concerning construction of Belmont Middle School, 45% of the footings are done for the cafeteria and the classrooms. Across from the cafeteria have been dug and poured. More concrete will be poured for the gym area, and progress continues to be made. The team was taking advantage of the good weather. Unfortunately, here lately, we've not had it. But all storm water piping has been completed on phase 2 of Stanley Middle School. The curbs and guttering for the permanent entrance will be completed over spring break. Bleachers at the stadiums are currently being installed. The final project is to be completed in May of this year. Bond projects will continue to be updated on Gaston County School website. Angela Calamia, our school nutrition director, explained to us that we serve 8,000 breakfast meals, 19,000 lunch meals each day. 3 schools offer supper program, and 14 schools offer after-school snack programs. We will also continue to offer summer feeding programs where 1,500 breakfasts and lunches are distributed off-site. 15 of our schools will serve as sites for the hot meals during the summer, which I think is great. Rebecca Powers, our accountability director, spoke to us about the goals and strategies for the strategic plan for Gaston County Schools for the next 5 years, and draft plans will be on the Gaston County School website for parents and the community to give feedback in the upcoming weeks. A draft was presented to the superintendent's budget request. We also discussed and and approve 3 capital projects, one being the replacement of the gym floor at Chavis Middle School, the second to upfit and maintain the elevators at York Chester Middle School, Vesper City Middle School, and lastly, we discussed the baseball lighting project at North Gaston High School. All 3 projects are presented in the consent agenda. Change orders for Stanley were received to modify the downspouts on the building, and also to switch from springing, that's seeded grass, to Bermuda sod, and also to provide irrigation for the athletic field, which is great. Our next meeting is scheduled May the 6th, 2019 at 4 p.m. here in the boardroom. And I'd like to say, meeting these people that work in operations more and more, I am so impressed with their hard work and dedication. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. The next item on our agenda is the Curriculum and Instruction Committee report, and this is an information item. And Mrs. Guthrie.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Cherry will present that report.
Thank you, Ms. Guthrie.
Okay, we had our meeting on April 1st after the Operations Committee meeting, and the meeting was called to order at 5:35. In attendance was our chairwoman, Dot Guthrie, Terry Ussery, myself, Justin Davis, Dr. Balknight, and Lolita Williams. Sorry, Lolita. Minutes were approved, and then we had an information item shared from the principal and assistant principal at W.A. Bess revolving around their A+ school status and the program that they will be initiating this coming school year. It's a very exciting program, and they gave us a lot of interesting information. Staff also updated us on the school choice lotteries and the kindergarten registration, and both of those have come and gone, and kindergarten registration is continuing and is going very, very smoothly. We also encourage anybody that hasn't registered their kindergarten to go online and use Scribble, because it's a very, very effective way of registering. Student Support Services is working with middle school counselors to have more consistency in all of our middle schools, so we had a report on that. And Rebecca Powers also graciously stayed and presented the strategic plan with us. Bless her heart, she was here for about 6 hours that day giving out that information. We adjourned our meeting at 7:31, so ours was not quite as impactful and informative as operations, or didn't have as much information to glean from. And our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 7th at 5:30. No, y'all just have a lot more on your agenda. Did I miss something, Ms. Guthrie?
We're very impactful.
We are very impactful. I recant that word. We just don't have as much operational stuff going on, movement as, let me stop there before I move something more.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cherry. Our next item on the agenda is the National School Library Month Proclamation. This is this is an action item. Mr. Hagans and Ms. Guthrie, would you like to get in? Yes.
Good evening, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Collier, members of the board, and Superintendent Booker. It is a pleasure to present to you a proclamation for your consideration and approval to celebrate National School Library Month in Gaston County Schools. And at this time, I'd like to read the proclamation, and then that will be before you for approval. And then once it is approved, Ms. Guthrie, we have a framed copy of it here, and we have members of our library and media coordinator team back there. We'll have them come forward, and you can make that presentation.
My pleasure.
All right, at this time, I'd like to read the proclamation that we have for you. This is a proclamation for National School Library Month. Whereas each year since 1985, the month of April is designated National School Library Month in an effort to celebrate school libraries and bring attention to the important role that school libraries play in public education. And whereas the theme for the 34th annual observance of National School Library Month is Everyone Belongs at Your School Library. And whereas the Library Media Center serves as the heart of a school, a place that offers books, technology, and many other resources that connect students with information, gives teachers what they need to encourage discovery, and fosters an engaging and collaborative learning environment. And whereas we are extremely proud of our school librarians and media center coordinators in Gaston County Schools who work diligently to make the library a fun, inviting, and special place for reading, knowledge, understanding, and personal growth. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Education is pleased to join other boards of education across the United States in proclaiming April 2019 as National School Library Month, and encourages the citizens of Gaston County to join in the celebration of National School Library Month by thanking our school librarians and media center coordinators for their efforts to promote the significance of libraries where lifelong learning begins for our children. Be it further resolved that this proclamation be made a part of the minutes of the Board of Education adopted this the 15th day of April 2019. And that is the resolution for your consideration and approval, Mr. Chairman.
Do I make a motion?
Yeah.
Mr. Justin, I'll second. Mr. Carter. Any questions, discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Hagans.
And we're going to ask that members, media center coordinators and librarians who are with us this evening, if they will come forward. And Ms. Guthrie, I'll give you the honor of presenting this certificate of recognition, the proclamation to them.
I am so happy. I am honored to have the opportunity to present this plaque this evening because I heard Ms. Hayes say that libraries were essential, and that they are. We are, well, a long time ago it was the hub of the school, but we are everywhere in just about every area of the curriculum. So I am honored, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to present this to you this evening as we together celebrate National Library Week. Libraries are strong, and libraries should be a part of each and every community, and funding should be right there for us at all times. So let's give them a round of applause. I'd gladly present this to you.
Congratulations, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Andrew, let's move you to the middle, please. You're the Media Specialist of the Year, right? Yes. All right. I can't see Miss Beam. If you can.
I'll go too.
Oh, that's fine, good. Thanks.
No, we're good.
Laura, you're too short.
Okay.
Laura, you're too short, Laura.
Oh, you guys, Todd said, Tom said stand up. Let's go stand up. Take a sit. Better seeing the video up here. On TV. No, you can hold it still.
I tell you what, were you last year? The two of you hold it together.
Yeah, there you go.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Miss Beam, we can probably bring you down. We'll bring Miss Beam. It's right there. There you go. Okay, now I can see her. I can smell it. I can see. Okay, here we go. All right, thank you.
And Peppy, I want to say what a job well done. You're doing a phenomenal job.
The next item on our agenda is Gaston County Schools Strategic Plan for 2019 to 2024, and this is an information item. And Mrs. Rebecca Powers.
Good evening, Superintendent Booker, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Ramsey, and board members. Tonight, I want to give you a very brief update of our new strategic plan. In our new strategic plan, we have identified the following as our top 4 priorities: to have college and career-ready students, a qualified workforce, innovation in our classrooms, and to continue to have healthy, safe, and responsible schools. With each priority, we have goals that we have set that we will focus on over the next 5 years. For our college and career ready, every student will graduate prepared for college, the workforce, and other life-enhancing opportunities. For our qualified workforce priority, every employee is qualified and committed to the education of all children. For our innovation priority, every employee uses innovative practices to serve all students, parents, and other stakeholders. And for healthy, safe, and responsible, every student has the opportunity to learn in a safe school environment. In order to make sure that we are reaching our goals, we will use the following indicators to monitor each priority. For college and career ready, we will monitor our graduation rate, our EOG and EOC student performance, our ACT and Work Keys participation, CTE and Advanced Placement Course participation, as well as our subgroup performance. For our qualified workforce priority, we will use the following indicators: our teacher turnover rate, our survey participation, as well as our teachers' credentials. For our innovation priority, we will monitor the number of technology devices in our classrooms, our digital professional development opportunities, and our communication efforts across the district. And for healthy, safe, and responsible schools, we will monitor using workers' compensation rates, our security audits, bullying incidents, and our community involvement. At your committee meetings, you received a draft copy of the strategic plan. Tonight, we have given you a document that gives updates of additions made after our committee meetings and what the feedback you gave us. Tonight, we have given you a proposed draft of the strategic plan. We will update this on our website along with a Google form to gain feedback from our external stakeholders. This Google form will stay out on the website until May 13th. We will then take that feedback received and make any needed adjustments to the plan, and then bring that final draft to you for a vote of approval on May 20th at our board meeting. Once we receive approval, our GCS strategic plan for the next 5 years will be posted to the website with a target date of June 1st. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Powers. Our next item on the agenda is second semester exam schedules for traditional high schools and Gaston Early College. This is an action item, and Dr. Balknight will be presenting.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Booker, Chairman Moore. I would like to share with you our second semester high school exam schedule for our traditional comprehensive high schools as well as our early college. This is the traditional exam schedule that we've used in previous years for Gaston Early College, which aligns with the ending of the school year for the community college. It'll be the same format as we've had in years past. And our high school exam schedule for our comprehensive high schools will be the same. North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and state statute requires that we complete exams or end-of-course assessments the last 5 days of the high school semester. So this requires our schedule to follow in this format. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Right. Do I have a second? Ms. Cherry, second. Any questions? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you, Dr. Balknight. Our next item is federal program grants, and this is also action item, and it's also Dr. Balknight.
Yes, sir. Again, good evening, board members. Mr. Buchanan will join me at the podium in just a few moments. We have several federal programs that we're required to write an annual grant application for. So we're requesting approval to move forward to request those funds. Many people are not aware that every year we have to request funds for Title I, Title II, as I'll discuss. We don't automatically receive those funds. And so we're going to share with you our priorities and move forward with submitting our application if approved. Title I, many of us hear lots about, but it's to support our children from low-income families that live in poverty or in schools where they have high poverty thresholds. So last year, this board approved that we change how we identify Title I schools, and we lowered our threshold to increase the number of Title I schools that we serve. So reduce that to any school greater or equal to 40% for elementary, that they would receive services for free and reduced lunch students, and then 75% equal or greater to for middle school students. At this time, we serve 30 schools total. Our proposed plan, which we are anticipating a reduction in our planning budget, our proposed plan for this year, as we rolled out additional support to all of our new Title I schools last year, we had part-time literacy teachers at some of our new elementary schools that were considered Tier 3 or in our lowest percentage. They were right at 40% free or reduced lunch. Our proposal this year is to increase all of our Title I schools to a full-time literacy teacher. We feel that that's a great use to maximize and support students in K-3 to grow their reading skills. To continue our 4 middle school math support teachers that we've had in multiple years, and also to continue funding and supporting pre-kindergarten students, as well as with other funds that they receive. And then we are required to set aside 1% for parent involvement, and we believe that that's critical to the grant as well. And so here again, just to refresh everyone's memory, here is our chart with our bands as to how we divide our funding up. 80 to 100%, they're in our top tier, our most at-risk schools, and then we allocate funding out in that manner. So the top tiers, you can see, they get $385.76 per student, whereas the middle band gets $298.15 per student, and the bottom tier gets $194.67 per student. Prior to last year, students in the bottom tier would not receive those funds because they were in the 40 to 58%. Title II, I'll begin discussing Title II unless there are Title I questions. I have all of the grants together, so at any time you have questions, feel free to stop me. As you can see, Title I. Yes, ma'am.
How have the schools adjusted, the new schools that went into the Title I this year? How have they adjusted?
We've gotten lots of positive feedback in that they feel that they have received additional support. It's great to be included in this number to provide the services because the children were there. The feedback was that a part-time literacy teacher was not as effective as it could be, thus the change to utilize the funding to provide all of the Title I elementary schools with a full-time literacy teacher. Title II is a very similar grant. It supports our professional development. We have a long history in Gaston County in believing that professional development is critical to maintaining a good, strong workforce, and that's how we'll use these funds. We currently support 8 curriculum facilitators that work in the Division of Academic Services. In addition, we also support our teacher and mentor specialists and application specialists through the Office of Human Resources. All of those funds are appropriate through Title II as the purpose is to provide professional development and to recruit and retain staff. And it's so critical to have the mentor specialists to work with our new teachers. Title III is for our students' second languages. It supports Gaston County's strategic plan, as Ms. Powers just discussed, and it's to increase language proficiency and academic achievement of our English language learners. As we have new federal mandates, there's a more intense focus, particularly on the subgroups, so we want to certainly make some changes to what we're doing the district to continue to support these students in new and different ways. So we're doing lots of things at the high school level as well to make sure that students at the high school level that come in as newcomers have the same level of support. I have listed here the total number of English language learners in the district, 1,700. Number of immigrants, and that is identified as a student between 3 to 21 years of age, born outside of the U.S. and then enrolled in our school system for less than 3 years. And then we have a total of 35 languages spoken in Gaston County.
Has that second language learners increased?
Yes, ma'am, it's increasing. Yes, our enrollment is increasing. A couple hundred. And so our plan, we continue to serve our 30 English language teachers that work out in schools. Some of them are divided amongst schools, but they work with our students. We have a program coordinator to make sure that the teachers get the support that they need. And then also we are providing shelter instruction observation protocol, which is called SIOP. So it helps the teacher that may not be as trained or well-versed in working with students, English language learners, how to include them in the instruction and make it a co-teaching model with inclusion for them. And then we also provide funding for supplemental professional development for all of our teachers that work with these students. And the most important part is the family outreach. So our goals and priorities are to increase educator and administrator knowledge on the needs of English language learners, continue to increase our student assessments for these children, and increase professional development opportunities for teachers. Title IV. Title IV provides very specific support to students, all students in the district, not necessarily one subgroup of students, but it's to support their academic and enrichment areas. And so we want to make sure that children have a well-rounded education. So you'll hear more in this area about Stand Up Gaston, if you'll recall. That's to make sure that we continue to work on our anti-bullying efforts and some of the other things that go along with that. We also work to train our teachers on various technology platforms, and so we'll provide training through this model. And again, continue to support teachers with professional development on our new platforms, different programs, and then our core curriculum as well. Exceptional children. This is the amount that they receive. We employ EC teachers, assistants. We also have EC pre-K teachers and assistants, psychologists, speech language pathologists, interpreters, and support staff. So this also supports a lot of our schools with that additional layer of support for those children that are identified. We get specific funds also for our EC preschool program as well. And we have EC pre-K teachers and programs across the district. And then I'll have Mr. Buchanan come up at this time. As you all know, he's very energetic and excited, so I didn't want to take that opportunity away from Mr. Buchanan to share all the great things that CTE is doing. And as you can see, he's come prepared with some documents that I'll be glad to help him pass out. Can you pass those out for me?
Thank you, Dr. Botnight. Good afternoon, members of the Gaston County Board of Education, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Collier, Superintendent Dr. Booker. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. I'm Brent Buchanan, the Career and Technical Education Director for Gaston County Schools. Each year, every CTE program in the state of North Carolina must submit a local planning system grant in order to receive the federal and state funds needed to run that program. 115 school districts in the state of North Carolina receive those funds. The current year we're in, we were approximately given $11 million to run CTE, and realize that's 17,000 students, 22 schools, and over 140 staff members. About 90% of those funds go to our staff members. So with that being said, I'm going to give you a little recap of how we performed in 17-18, what we have done in 18-19, and then look forward to 19-20, how we will use these funds that I'm here speaking about tonight. Super excited to be here. As Dr. Botnight said, we have done above and beyond my expectations. Last year, I said we did awesome. This year, for 17-18, we did even better than that, to the point of, I would think, almost unbelievable. But I'm going to go through some of these details and let you understand what I am talking about. So we were the first, well, in North Carolina, out of 115 school districts, we had the most three-year consecutive growth out of all of those districts in 115. In 3 years, we went from a 77.4 to 81.5 to 87.8. There are only about 3 other districts in North Carolina that had double-digit increases in 3 years. All of those came from the 50s to the 60s. None of them came from 77.4 or higher and went to an 87.8. Also, in saying that, we set a first time ever for Gaston County Schools and a first time ever for the Affinity Group 1. That's the top 10 largest districts in the state of North Carolina. We set a proficiency 3-year, 10 county high, 87.8. We have never, ever outscored Wake County Schools. We just did that. And we have never been the top performer for Affinity Group 1 ever in existence. So we set some goals that not only are for the county and for the state and for our Affinity Group. Also realize that Proficiency in CTE from DPI does have a minimum rating set to it at 73.8. If you underperform that number 3 years in a row, your county is put on an action plan. I can tell you there is a very large county that is neighboring us that is on that. So we have a set standard we have to perform at, and not only have we met that, we have exceeded that. Also keep in mind when you look at some numbers regarding how we should perform. Our free and reduced lunch in Affinity Group 1 is the highest, whereas Union and Wake are half that, and we are still outperforming them. So in saying that, I want to say something you probably never ever hear. To have the highest free and reduced lunch with the most growth and the most proficiency is unheard of, and that's something we did in 17-18. Moving forward, we were also second in the state of North Carolina for earned credentials by our students. The flag page in the book I gave you, 136 pages about CTE credentials per DPI. The Department of Public Instruction has put a huge focus on student-earned certifications and credentials. The past 4 years, we went from 7th to 6th to 4th to 2nd in the state of North Carolina. Realize we're the 10th largest district in North Carolina. We should not exceed what size we are just because it's a volume game. But if you look at that second list of the 2 top 10 lists in the state of North Carolina, that will tell you why. If you wanted to ask me, Brett, how hard do your teachers work? How hard does your staff work? 161.5%. That's how hard we work. You notice Wake County Schools is not on there. They're 53% efficient in student-earned credentials. So what that means is when a child enters one of our CTE courses that offers credentials, how many do they earn? As you can tell, we're over 100%. So for example, our Microsoft Office courses, you can earn 2 credentials in there. If they earn 2 credentials per 1 student, now you can see how we get over 100%. So we are the only one ever affinity group school system to be on both top 10 lists. It's very hard to be on both. The top one is a volume game. Obviously, you can see Wake County Schools, they're 3 times our size and barely beat us in volume. But the bottom one is one you never see an affinity group large school system do because everything we offer does not have a CTE credential attached to it, and that's per DPI. So when you look at that and see that we can be on both, it's above and beyond awesome, and that truly happens because of our staff, our students, our teachers, our career development coordinators in our schools, in our central office. They are the push behind that. So we have superstars out there, and I'm just proud to be part of that team that can excel above and beyond anyone's expectations. And then to the last bullet point here, our teachers not only teach the curriculum they are expected to teach, excel at a level way beyond setting a 3-year record now for 10 counties. They also get additional bonuses sent to them from the Department of Public Instruction. 51 total teachers, over $80,000 sent to our teachers for going above and beyond what they are required to do, and then offering those credentials that we pay for with CTE funding that our educators teach our students about. They take the test and they are successful in that, as you can see from this documentation. So to say 17-18 has been a great year, I think will be an understatement to say the least. The only thing I see is maybe the challenge going forward. We are at the top of the mountain. We've got there. Now we just have to focus on staying there. I don't know which one's harder, but I'm just glad to say that we are there. I'm very proud of what our support staff has done. A great job. Moving on to not only do we teach the curriculum, do we offer credentials, we also connect the dots between the curriculum and then careers. We have some great career exposure events out there. We also have our career development coordinators, CTE coordinators in our schools, connecting those dots, working with businesses, and helping our students become successful before they even graduate. 2 examples right here. We had the first automotive apprenticeship in North Carolina this year. Evan Summerlin, that's the student sitting in the middle with the blue shirt. But to my right in the gray jacket is Jim Presley from DPI. He had to finalize this apprenticeship program. Department of Labor recognized apprenticeship program. He had to finalize that so our student could be a part of it. To his left in the black shirt is Chris Talbert from Tyndall Ford, a strong partner, part of our Business Advisory Council, part of our Automotive Advisory Council, Natalie Tyndall. This is a partnership between Guilford Tech and Tyndall Ford. The child in the center has a free ride to Guilford Tech. When he comes on the weekends and on vacations, we'll work with Tyndall Ford to get a foot ahead of anyone else just entering their doorsteps. When he graduates, we'll have an associate's degree paid for, and we'll have a successful career set forth, and then he will step in that and continue to move forward. So very proud of that. Mr. Hawkins, the far right, standing in the back, that's our East Gaston auto instructor, instrumental in making this happen. So very proud of Evan, our instructors, and the whole team that made this happen. Moving down to the lower picture, you recognize this, I hope you do. That's Rogan Smith, our first ever pre-apprenticeship student for masonry with the McGee Brothers Masonry Program. To the far left, Heather Forbes, want to recognize her, one of our CTE coordinators, does an awesome job going out there, working with our businesses, setting these opportunities up for our students. It wouldn't happen without them. They've done a great job. To the far right, so we have Rogan, his mom, and then Mr. Austin, our masonry teacher out at Forest View, and then Principal Hauser. All those individuals instrumental in making this happen. You will see him very soon, probably again, our career signing day. Let's just say McGee Brothers really like him, and you'll probably see him very soon again when working with them. I think we're awesome. Hopefully you think we're awesome, but we also have some national and state recognition that have taken note as far as what we have been doing. We were recognized in the New York Times for our career signing day and some of our career exposure events. Also, Business NC called and wanted to know what it is we're doing because they're hearing about the great things we are doing in Gaston County. So we've been recognized by Business NC and the New York Times. Very proud for other people taking recognition or just recognizing the great things we are doing for our students. And then finally, we established a business advisory council per legislation in 1718. We have met with them multiple times, really been a great program. When we met with them, we basically did the same thing I'm doing with you tonight, told them what we do, how great we do it. They were impressed, but the first thing they said is, what are you doing to get this information out there? It's wonderful information, but who else knows about it? Perfect question, so we had a resolve for that. Do some marketing. We have 10 CTE Twitter pages, an individual Twitter page for every single high school. I have a district level one. And then going above and beyond the digital focus, we went out there and did some traditional billboards. So in the fall, we did 10 billboards, one representative of each high school. And in the spring, we did another round representative of each high school. The set of pictures for every high school, this is Stuart Kramer. Those are our programs and our students. Awesome picture here in the spring, different set of pictures showcasing what else we do in CTE. You wouldn't believe the amount of, I guess you would say, just people talking about this, parents getting excited about it, students getting excited about it. I mean, how cool would it be when you're in high school, you drive by and see yourself on a billboard? That's pretty awesome. So we're really glad we've been able to work with our Business Advisory Council, a good partnership, and they've gave us some good challenges to think about that are very valid, and that we have stepped up to that cause and produce something that would approach that. Career exposure events. These are our annual career exposure events we have each year. Just this page right here is representative of over 3,000 students participating in local career exposure events. So the Manufacturing Career Expo, 800 students, middle and high, going to Gaston College and being taught by our business leaders themselves. Students at Work, one of the largest programs in the state of North Carolina. Every single 8th grade student in the county went out to paired businesses. 25 total participated. We couldn't do this without the partnerships of our businesses, Workforce Development Board, Economic Development Commission, the Gaston Regional Chamber, and Gaston College. Would like to applaud them. You can't have something this large without those partners on the ship taking care of everything and helping you out. And then finally, I've talked all night about teaching our students. What about our educators? So our educators in the workplace event, we had it this past July. We're gearing up to have it again this coming July. We send our educators out to learn from the same business employers that teach our students. They are our biggest investment. They will be in front of our students day in and day out. We want them to have current, relevant knowledge to bring back to the classroom to educate our students with. They participate in this. We'd like to applaud all the businesses that continue to support us and are partners with us year in and year out when we do this. And lastly, that was 17-18 and 18-19, wrapped up in a very small, fast package. For 19-20, what is our focus? Since 2006, we have been operating on Perkins 4. We are getting ready to change over to Perkins 5 requirements. 19-20 will be a transition year. I would like to say there's really nothing very impactful that will apply to us because we're so progressive in how we work in the middle schools where a lot of the changes and focuses will be. So we will have pretty much all the check marks in the new boxes before 1920 approaches us. We're also looking at some new programs in our middle and high schools. A lot of those do revolve or are, help with our school choice programs being pushed out across the county. You heard me say we have the best staff, we have the best teachers, we truly do, but to keep them at that level, we have to invest in the professional development needed to keep them at the top tier that they're on. And then looking at always CTE program enhancements and technology upgrades. 17,000 students, 22 schools, 140 plus staff. We use equipment, it does wear out, and we continually replace that to keep that fresh for all of those individuals using those pieces. That being said, that's all I have for CTE. Any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Ramsey.
So do you see a lot of increase since we've opened up the 8th grade exposure for career tech? So I know a lot of the guidance counselors in high school start signing kids up in the 8th grade in the spring. So do you see the increase of these kids signing up for CTE programs in high school?
I do see the increase. There's a lot of interest. And talking about educators in the workplace, this past year, per legislation, it was opened up to expose 5th grade teachers and counselors. So we are getting lower and lower. Perkins 5 is also kind of mandating that. But anytime you have more exposure, more awareness, you get that seen in the other side with registration. Also, the new choice programs have more middle school CTE programs, getting people excited. So, yes, sir.
And on a footnote, I sent Todd's press release to Jamie Bull's show on WTV, so he'll probably be contacting us soon to do a cover story on us.
Mr. Davis.
I just think it just needs to be said about what a great job that all of our teachers, your department, and our principals, and everybody is doing with the CTE program. I mean, what we see here tonight with what we've seen with regard to CTE and with our award winners is that our district is working very hard and producing results for career-ready and college-ready students. And it's just an outstanding thing to see this level of success across the state when looking at the other districts. I mean, it's just wonderful to see in this community, and so kudos to you and to everyone who's involved in this. I'm so proud to be a part of it, and it's just a great celebration to see what you gave us here tonight, and this is just outstanding. So
thank you, sir.
Very much so.
Anyone else? This is an action item. So we need a motion.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Collier, Mrs. Guthrie, second. Any more questions, discussion?
So just to clarify, you're approving all the programs that were presented in the PowerPoint.
Okay. All in favor? And it's carried. Thank you, Dr. Balknight. Mr. Buchanan. Our next item on the agenda is the 2019-2020 budget request, and this is also an action item. And Mr. Hoskins.
Thank you, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Collier, members of the board, Superintendent Booker. I'm here tonight to present the Gaston County 2019-2020 budget request. Each of you should have a copy of this at your seat. We have talked about this in detail at the last board meeting, so I'll hit some of the highlights for this meeting. After we approve, or once you approve the budget request at this meeting, we'll be posting this or a link to this on the Gaston County Schools website. Then we will also be delivering a copy of the budget request to the county commissioners. As you know, we're required by law to have this presented to them by May 15th. At that point, we'll be really waiting on the county commissioners to approve their budget and for the General Assembly and the state to approve the state budget. However, in the meantime, again, as required by law, this board will be required to pass a balanced interim budget prior to June 30th. So at the June meeting, we'll probably be bringing that up for your approval. So as we mentioned before, the state is currently in a long session. They're starting the first year of the biennial budget for next year, so there's a lot of Senate bills and House bills flying around that could impact us. So I just want to talk about a couple of them fairly quickly. Senate Bill 438, Excellent Public Schools Act of 2019, will make some modifications to our Read to Achieve program. That could impact our summer school program in that it has to be approved by DPI, so it may be some additional hoops we have to jump through and some requirements, but those are things that we currently are doing and should just be some tweaks to our literacy program. Senate Bill 522 does potentially pose some challenges to us because it would give counties the authority to appropriate capital funds to our charter schools. Several months ago, or really a couple years ago now, an independent committee identified $650 million of capital needs that we have here at Gaston County Schools. And back in May of 2018, the voters approved $250 million bond offering, which the county subsequently issued $60 million last November. If this passes, then part of those funds could be transferred over to charter schools. And as you know, we're doubling the number of charter schools from last year to this year, or this coming year, with 2 new charter schools opening. It also allows some changes in how charter schools, their academic standards, and it also removes the cap on the state's 2 virtual schools. Senate Bill 580 has been getting a lot of press about classroom supplies for teachers. This would redirect a substantial portion of the funding that they give us for classroom supplies and put that in the hands of individual teachers in the amount of $400 per teacher. The teachers would have to go out and buy their supplies and then apply for reimbursement through a particular app. I can't remember the name of it, Classroom Wallet or something like that, in order to get the funding back from the state. So a lot of things to be worked out with that, but that would take our funding from $47 million to about $10 million in classroom supplies. They're also proposing in Senate Bill 609 to make some changes in the K-12 scholarships. One of the biggest is the Opportunity Scholarship, and they've been adding $10 million every year to the Opportunity Scholarship. Well, all of those funds have not been used. And so the General Assembly is saying, well, if they're not being used, let's loosen the requirements a little bit to make sure that they're used. So again, that's money, taxpayer money that's coming and taking children out of the public schools and putting them in private schools. Senate Bill 639, Education Funding Transparency. We try to be as transparent as we can. I don't see that this would make any significant changes to how we do business. I'm sure it has some different requirements that we would end up having to implement. 2 other various bills that are going around, the school calendar bill. We talked about that quite a bit. There's, I don't know, half a dozen or a dozen different versions of the school calendar bill that are out there. You know, we would like to see a calendar that's consistent with our community college so that our early college and our other schools would have the same calendar. And also there's various school grading bills out there. Right now, the letter grades are on 15-point intervals, and that's what we would prefer for it to stay and not to continue to change from 15 to 10 and then back to 15. So we would certainly want for that to be extended permanently, the 15-point scale. And then finally, some Economics and Financial Literacy Act would require that public schools establish a semester-long economics and financial literacy class for high school. Of course, there'd be challenges if that happens. What other class are they going to take away? How are we going to find qualified teaching candidates this quickly if they start this in August? So just some things to keep in mind that challenges that we would have. Senate Bill 175 eliminates pre-K wait list. We do support pre-K. That's a state program. We would certainly like to see additional funds appropriated to pre-K so that they could expand the pre-K program and have those children coming to kindergarten better prepared. And finally, HB 377 is a House bill to reduce testing. They would replace end-of-grade testing with various benchmark assessments. I'm not sure what those would be at this point in time, but that could affect how we operate as well. So our local budget operating request, we have current funding and expansion funding. Current funding is the current level that we're getting right now, and that an expansion would be any new programs or projects. We're currently receiving $48.35 million from the county, and that's for teachers, support staff, and so forth. And if you look back over the last 5-year period, going back to 2013-14, the county appropriation was $42.7 million, and as of last year, 2017-18, there was $47.7 million. So the county has increased our funding by 11.8% over that period of time, and this does not include the interest that they pay on our school bonds, does not include the SRO salaries, the high school SRO salaries, and commissioner schools. This is just a direct contribution that the county makes to us each year. And when you look at how we have spent that money over the last 5 years, again, back in 2013-14, our instructional costs were $16.8 million, and last year, those instructional costs were $22.4 million. So we've increased the instructional funding by 33.4% over the last 4 years. And on the flip side, non-instructional costs only went up 3% during that same period of time. So our expansion request includes ongoing expenditures and new initiatives. And again, we talked about these in detail at the March meeting, so I won't talk in detail here, but ongoing expenditures total almost $1.7 million. That would include the state-mandated increase in employer benefits, meaning retirement benefits and health insurance benefits, replacing end-of-life mobile devices. Those are essentially classroom Chromebooks, just over $5,000 we expect this year. Utility rate increases and inflation is just about a 1.5% to 2% expected increase in the cost of supplies and fuel for next year, and then charter school enrollment increase. That's been going up by 6% over the last couple years. We projected that to stay flat this year. And then finally, new initiatives, $2.4 million. As always, the certified employee teacher supplement, $500,000. We've talked about expanding our school choice. That's $850,000. Then employee compensation for our classified and certified, $485,000. Increasing student support personnel, that's an extra 8 guidance counselors at our highest need schools that we're asking for those additional school-based support. And then finally, replacing our end-of-life central office IT infrastructure. So when you look at this request compared to last year's request, as I mentioned, our prior year appropriation is $48.3 million. We're adding our ongoing expenditures of $1.7 million, new initiatives of $2.4 million, so our total operating request is $52,473,000. That's less than 1% higher than the request was for last year. And in addition to our operating requests, we will also have a capital request. And capital is used for all the major components of a building, as well as vehicles and technology. Our maintenance costs are affected by the quality of our custodial staff, and more importantly, the ages of our buildings. which almost 60% of our buildings are over 40 years old. And when we look at what other school districts are paying for their routine maintenance cost, according to the Managing for Results in America's Great City Schools, that ranges from $1.41 a square foot in the upper quartile of the schools that they surveyed to 95 cents per square foot for the lower quartile. And you can see where we are right now. We're the yellow line at 25 cents, right around 25 cents per square foot. So we've got 5.2 million square feet of space, and if we apply the median of $1.18 per square foot, that would equate to a $6.1 million capital outlay, and that's what we're asking for in this budget request. So in conclusion, we do believe that this budget request supports the vision of Gaston County Schools, which is to inspire success and a lifetime of learning for all of our students. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I want everybody to understand that $400 payment to our teachers is coming out of our money that we already spend. And I think our teachers realize that. I mean, I want teachers to have every dime they can get. But what the state is doing, they're kind of hoodwinking a little bit by taking all that money that they're going to send to us, where we can buy in bulk and we can buy things together for our teachers. And they're telling them they're going to get $400 like that's a newfound money. It's not newfound money. It's hoodwink.
It's a reallocation.
Yeah.
And also, if you saw recently, we published that we match almost dollar for dollar each dollar that the state gives us with local dollars to increase the supply of money. And we recognize there's still more needed.
But I don't want our teachers not to think that we don't support. We support them 150% in any money. It would be nice if the state was saying, hey, let's give $400 that is not already encumbered somewhere else. But that's not the case.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Mr.
I'm ready to make a motion.
All right. Mr. Devon made a motion. Do I get a second? Ms. Cherry, any more discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Hoskins.
All right, thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is reduction in workforce, strategic planning, and this is also an action item. And Dr. Booker.
Yes, just members of the board, typical as we're looking at our budget, you saw in the item as we presented it on the agenda, it's possible, we don't anticipate needing to do this, but law requires the board to give us approval for that. And it's just a prudent budget planning tool because we do not know, as Mr. Devon just pointed out, a $400 cut to teacher, you do that times 2,000 teachers, you can see how that would shift our budget. There are a number of things, and by law, we don't have a way to generate revenue, so this just gives us the flexibility. We have not used this tool since the Great Recession, but we just need that, so would move for approval.
Okay. Any questions? I need a motion. Mrs. Guthrie? Need a second? Mr. Hall? Any discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. There are several items on our consent agenda tonight. Please take a look at those items listed. I need a motion to approve those items on the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Ramsey, second. Ms. Cherry. Any discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. That brings us to a time in our meeting to hear from our superintendent. Mr. Booker, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. A couple thank yous. A number of you attended our employee talent show last week. I want to thank all those who participated. It was another example of how we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, and over $500 in donations came to use for purchase in our classroom library. So look forward to seeing that show on Channel 21. And just as you're planning your calendar, May 29th is the last big 50 celebration event, which will be at the Gastonia Conference Center. And this is the program where we traditionally have different programs for our business and community partners as well as school mentors. We're combining all those so that we can have one great celebration there on May 29th. Also wanted to thank Carrie Minnick and her staff for a couple programs that went on last week. Demystifying Dyslexia, which was a really neat workshop. And if you remember last Monday, torrential rainstorms, still had almost 30 people from the community attend that. Got great feedback and really appreciation for us allowing our experts to share knowledge with that. And then this past Saturday, a transitions workshop, which provided information to our community members about what goes on with our exceptional programs. That's something that Carrie does a great job of getting out there. Also at that same time at Gaston Early College, we had our college fair along with the training for our folks for the programs where they'll be taking AP courses, and had 3 different sessions there, and that was really well attended, particularly when you take into account all the weather that folks were fighting. So a lot goes on the weekends, and our staff give of their time freely, and so we just wanted to make sure you all knew those were great events that went on. Earlier we had a speaker, Ms. Hayes, on behalf of the NCAE, and if you took the 5 points that she did, if you align those with the Superintendent's Association, you align them with the School Board Association, there are a lot of commonalities in that. And so, we appreciate the right of our teachers and all of our employees, and we stand in unison a lot of things that we know are needed. Right now in Gaston County, we have a little over 125 employees that have expressed to be out on May the 1st. We'll continue to monitor that as we did last year, because when we come back from spring break, it will be less than 20 some days, 27 I believe, and it'll be, all those days will be precious to us, and so we'll want to meet the needs of our students as we can. But we appreciate what our teachers are doing and how they are speaking out and reminding people that all children deserve a free, fair public education. Also, as you're looking at your calendars, this Wednesday at 4 o'clock at Stuart W. Kramer High School will be the Kia Outstanding Educator Award, which is the 6th giveaway of a car. One of our media specialists was here tonight, drove here in a car that she won 3 years ago. And so we really appreciate Chris Hafer and everyone at Kia of Gastonia, because they give this car no string attached, and it's really neat. So please join us on Wednesday for a fun and exciting time. I know many of you got out over the last few weeks for all our different spring musicals. It was really neat. Received a very touching email over the weekend, because at one of our musicals, we had a parent attending who was in the last stages of a really bold and proud fight against cancer. And I just got a thank you note for what the staff did to allow that parent to have that event with their child. And it just shows the extra that goes on every day. So those were just tremendous events, and I encourage you, anytime you saw all these art awards, our kids will not let you down when you take time to go see them perform. Along with that, the Best and Brightest recognition program by the Gaston Gazette will be Thursday at 5 o'clock at the Shield Museum. That's a program that the Gazette runs, but it recognizes a large number of our seniors, and I encourage you to be in attendance for that. And also, hopefully you've got on your calendar May the 6th, our Evening of Excellence, so that you can do that. And lastly, the one that everybody is most excited about is Friday, April 26th, is the beginning of spring break. So all of our schools will be closed on this Friday, and as well as the next week, with the 26th being an optional teacher workday. And I spoke with Mr. Moore, and he was supportive, as we've done in the past couple of years. We will close our school buildings, put signs on the door referring them to the central office, which we will have manned, and it allows our schools to truly get a break. And there'll be facilities, services, technology services. We'll be doing projects within the schools, but we won't have to have staff there to keep them open. So for the public, if you'll come to the central office, we'll have folks here to try and help you with any problems you have. And Mr. Chairman, I would like to recognize that a couple birthdays. I believe you had one since our previous meeting, and I believe Mr. Davis has one coming up. So I'd like to wish you all both a happy birthday. And for my last comment, if you could recognize Cindy Matson, this is her last official school board meeting, as she will be retiring at the end of the month. So. Ms. Matson has been a great champion for not only technology, but instruction in our district, and has done a lot of work in the time since she came here. So wanted to make sure we acknowledge that. But that concludes my comments, sir. 4 o'clock, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Best and brightest is 5 o'clock at Thursday.
Thank you, Dr. Booker. Our next item on the agenda is closed session. We do need to go into closed session for North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 for personnel, and North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 for consultation with attorney. And I need a motion to go into closed session. Justin? Mr. Davis? Ms. Cherry? Any discussion? All in favor? And we're in closed session. be May the 20th. And I need a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we.
Mr. Devon?
Second.
Mr. Davis? Any discussion? All in favor?
Adopted.
And it's unanimous.
Leave was adopted.
Happy.